tattoos are more popular than ever.
I want to show it off all the time.
It took 3 hours.
They were always day of, spur of the moment.
Markers and reminders of times of my life.
I love it.
Don't regret it at all.
But what do our tattoos say about us?
The way that we see tattoos now in 2019 is very different than how we saw them even 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago.
This is our colleague, Noah Michelson. He's the editorial director of HuffPost Personal. And
I'd say I am close to 90% covered in tattoos at this point.
Noah says for much of American history,
quote unquote, normal people didn't get tattooed, or especially didn't get heavily tattooed.
Tattoos were traditionally only seen in groups with centuries-old histories of tattooing, such as Native people, people in the military, criminals, and social outcasts. As such, the stigma around tattoos persisted.
Even in New York City, you couldn't legally get tattooed until the late 90s.
Because tattooing was seen as unsanitary. Tattoo artists in places like New York worked out of apartments and basements, while stereotypes about tattooing as part of underground culture persisted for decades. But then something changed. During the reality TV boom of the early 2000s, tattoo parlors and artists on shows like LA Ink entered the living rooms of thousands of Americans, while at the same time, social media allowed tattoo artists to share their craft in ways they couldn't before. Now, according to a Pew Research poll, nearly half of all millennials have at least one tattoo, compared to 13% of their parents' generation. One of those millennials is Bang Bang McCurdy, best-selling author, tattoo artist, and owner of the Bang Bang tattoo shops in New York City. Bang Bang aims to transcend the grungy tattoo shop stereotype.
I didn't have much of a choice since I didn't feel like there was a proper representation of what a tattoo studio needs to be for an artist like me.
Bang Bang began refining his craft as a teenager who
started tattooing outside of a trailer park in Delaware.
But now he's one of the world's most sought-after tattoo artists, placing his art on some of the most recognizable people on Earth. And perhaps one reason for Bang Bang's success is that he never forgets why people get tattoos.
I'm getting chills thinking about it because I know the transformation that comes in people and the confidence that comes in people when they get a great tattoo. You know, what has impacted this person that makes them want to externally visualize what they're internally feeling?
So this is my tattoo.
An antelope.
I have a crop circle on my left forearm.
This is my dad's family name.
It was an idea that I've been thinking about for a super long time.
Completely spontaneous on spring break.
My mom and I really wanted to get tattoos together.
I don't know, oysters are really cool.
We landed on getting our apartment number that I grew up in.
When you look at the tattoo that you've gotten, you often are reminded of where you were.
I got it with 3 of my friends.
We road tripped.
We got super drunk.
Who your favorite band was.
I love Pink Floyd.
My dad was a huge Deadhead.
What you were going through at the moment.
It was kind of like a thing that I did for myself.
The 2 bigger ones that I have were after breakups.
She was like, whatever you draw on this piece of napkin, we're gonna get tattooed to commemorate you finishing college.
But also how you were treated and how the tattoo artist interacted with you and heard you and made you feel good. That's just as important as what the tattoo looks like.
This is Jazz Morell, a tattoo artist and owner and operator of Spirited Tattooing Coalition in Philadelphia.
Spirited is a trans, queer, and POC owned and operated space, and we are here for the community that shares those identities.
For Jazz, the environment of Spirited Tattoo is crucial because
I want to make sure that I'm doing the best job to make people feel safe.
That's because before opening Spirited Tattoo,
unfortunately, I experienced a lot of transphobia, homophobia, just straight up racist remarks. And when that happens over and over again at different shops, and it's not just one person or one shop, that's when you know it's truly a problem.
Like Bang Bang, Jazz opened his shop as a response to stereotypical tattoo shops, which can be
super macho, hyper masculine,
especially white bro-y-ness.
You have to have this experience where you trust the person that you're with.
Because ultimately, tattooing is about connection.
It's people. That's the way we are. We want connections with people.
I went to this really awesome tattoo shop that was mostly run by women. And it instantly felt like a really safe space.
All my tattoos are either from
queer tattoo artists or POC tattoo artists. So they're people that I want to support, and I want their art on my body.
Which is why tattoos allow Jazz and people like him to
connect with other people who are like me on a more intimate level.
And perhaps it's no surprise that for many of us, our tattoos end up becoming a crucial part of our identity.
One of the reoccurring dreams I have is that I don't have my tattoos anymore. Something happened and they disappeared. And I always wake up in this like a cold sweat. That's how sort of ingrained they are, not just in my skin, but also in my psyche. And now I think also in my personality and my persona and how I think about who I am and how I exist in the world.